Path of the Samurai follows honor. My name is Prospektor Schipplock and I run for CSM19, and for this I have to be fit. Running CSM is something like a marathon. You have to be fit for that. This is not my first time running as CSM. I was running as CSM15 and now I try again to be back online for you guys to achieve the goals what you wanna have to get achieved. CSM run by null blocks alliances has only one thing in their mind. Only get their own stuff on their agenda, getting down to the pipeline. But what's with the small man? What's with you?
Don't group this other shit.
Welcome. You get to be the very first person that we're interviewing in this next week and a half for CSM19. Go ahead and introduce yourself and tell you how you started playing.
How I start Eve's playing? I started in 2007 with a Galantic character. Was not so much satisfied with that because the peoples in our corps are running all the drakes and got easily grinded through the missions while I was struggling to hit anything. So I decided to make a new character. I made a Kaldari character and getting also into the drake, and this was and then the fun starts. After this I realized the turret mechanics. Then I switched over to turrets and since then I mostly play with turrets when I can, but missiles is also fun, depends on all the game mechanics, yes, and something like that. Yeah. And why I'm starting playing? I saw some big picture of EVE propaganda on a bus station, and I was thinking, hey, sci-fi sounds good. I was playing XP Join the Frontier before and tried this and thought, oh yeah, this is some multiplayer game. This sounds good for me. I want to play this, and now I play 70 years. And
Very cool. What do you do in EVE?
I'm an alliance leader. I'm the leader of the Edencom Defensive Initiative. This is a role-play-based alliance regarding to the Triglavian invasion. We are the counterpart to that. I hope my English is enough for you because I'm not a natural mother tongue speaker. But I hope I can sort this out for you.
No, that's perfect.
Yeah, good.
So, you have decided to run for CSM19. What are 3 points of your campaign?
Yeah, I was running as CSM15, then at CSM17 I was not running, I just make some propaganda there, and I run again for CSM19 because I think it's time to get stuff done. I mean, not the stuff the CSM as usual get to that point, because I have written a letter in 2007, 34 pages to CCP with some enhancement and improvements to the game, which nearly all of them find into the game. But I made also some mistakes there, and I think it's time to fix that shit. I pre-visioned there, and I hope that I will get through the process so I can align the stuff in the right direction. But I'm not as good as a software developer as maybe CCP is, and maybe I would like to say it's hard to pretend how the player will react on improvements they have into the game, and it was unpredictable to get and see what the players have made out of it, like Triglavian invasion, Edencom, etc., etc. And my top 3 campaign points for CSM is the high sec. I think they need some improvement, especially to level 4 mission running, or in general the approach, how the mission appears, the small window with some text. I think this is something that is not to be good for the current state, because they have the improvements here. They have their tools like some background, some character animations like in the NPE, and maybe some decisions made by the missions should also affect stuff here into the approach of something is ongoing in Eve, like mission line or something like that, because it's so repetitive and not satisfying for people with a lot of experience. I mean, this could be interesting for people who are interested in doing high-sec mission running, I think. And there is a lot of improvements here, I think. Then the next point is also Poffin space. I mean, Poffin space is a little bit lost at the moment. They should be improved here also, like having the possibilities, for example, buying Sinitras with Triglavia standing from Triglavia directly, and maybe also the Edencom faction has to attack some players there, or better stations there, which have to be protected. And all this counterplay between Edencom and Triglavia should be a little bit adjusted a little bit. Also, that the Poffin players can set up structures there, like some Triglavia, what is this called? Starbase charters or something like that. That should be also a good approach here. And yeah, and PvE could be also more interesting, because we are running as a Edencom defensive initiative against the Triglavians, and even with 3 wormholes in one system, which has a huge amount of Triglavians, it's easy madeable with the proper fleet. And this should be a little bit scalable with the fleet running it, that it should be more interesting, maybe a little bit cruel if you do it wrong. Maybe some adjustment to the attack patterns, because sometimes it's predictable. Like if you have Marauders on there, then it should be not only Marauders or logistic focused. It should be focused on, something like DPS output, or who's the weakest, who has. I mean, it's not that problem that you can, from game mechanic side, choose the squishy target and put it
Right.
out. Sorry if I say so. I mean, this is not the best approach, I know, but I like more having some interesting gameplay, because at the moment it's farming. I mean, farming is good, yes, but it's getting boring over years if you do the same shit and not lose anything. I mean, you make a lot of profit there. There is some improvements here. I have something on schedule I posted in the Eve online webpage in the CSM campaign. I wrote another letter to CCP, also in German and in English, with some improvement. I was thinking about that. CCP respond to that maybe we should discuss this a little bit. And yeah, this is just some points, some adjustments, some ideas. It's not fully in concept, you know. I mean, this is something you have to get into it, and something would which could make the game a little bit more interesting and has some improvement for the high-sec players, especially to that point of playing style. Yeah. I also run a 0-0 alliance there too, yes, but I think there is so many 0-0 alliances in the CSM represented, so I just want to be the opposite faction, or something that help saying, okay, this sounds interesting, let's do this, or no, I'm not so good with that, because you all 0-0 blocks will benefit of that, but this high-sec player or the other players don't have any benefits of that. I also would say that low-sec is also interesting. That should also have some improvements, but this is not not of my 3 top campaign points here.
Okay, great. So we're going to get into a few questions, and they might be, for some candidates, a little bit mean, because they're focusing more on my community. And because, of course, I'm putting a ballot together so we can vote. Eve Rookies is about the new player experience. So we have a lot of new players coming in to our community as well as returning players. And we have a lot of focus on helping them through, find out what they want to do, get involved in community, get engaged. But we also focus on community culture. So hopefully, being a CEO, alliance leader, you'll be able to answer these questions as well for us. So the first question in this section is, what do you believe are the biggest challenges facing players in EVE today?
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. I mean, we have a lot of new players in our corporation too. The most important problem is the thing here that we are getting the peoples into the right skills. Skills needs time. Yeah, you can inject it. Yeah, this is a possibility. But I think personally, it should be, if you take a look into the let me rethink. That's how it's spelled in English. You get an overview how much you have mined and how much you have run mission running. This whole story, I don't know the English word for it right now. The tracker.
Oh, right.
If you, for example, get skill points by achieving some kind of these tracker tools and split it down to, like, for example, the ships you were flying, and get some skill points in there, that could be also some interesting point to get people more affected to the right proper ship they are flying. I mean, it helps the people. Putting in people some skill injectors, this is maybe helpful on the first side, but it doesn't teach the people how do you have to fly, how you maneuver your ship, what is the best approach, what does angular velocity means. There are so many things. I mean, it's covered by the EVE tutorials in game, but it's hard to get there, to be honest, if you don't know it. I mean, especially as new player, you don't know what the turret mechanic, for example, is. And it's also the most people struggling with the, oh my gosh, I have to skill 3 months to get into that ship and get the proper role. And from my point of perspective, there should be also some kind of possibility for corporations to handle out some expert system for designated ships like mining barges or combat ships or ECM ships or whatever. So they can cover the gap between skill time and the skill effectivity once you reach the skills, because people want to play the game, but struggling mostly in, oh my god, I don't have the proper ship. Because in the corporation, normally it's usual to say, hey, what do your ship need? I have that ship for you. Come take it. Let's go make
Right.
some fun. This is the same story. But the people are not able to get into the proper ship. And this delay of the game style regarding to that is something they should a little bit changed. I think it should be possible that the people can get faster into the ship they want to get into it. And especially to that point that we have now really reached 2 million players, newbie starting as a registered accounts on EVE. I think they will break the line the new next month or so. And the skill grind is something I would like to address in the game, because air opportunities and the air career program is nice, makes some sense, but this maybe we could make some adjustments here too. But I don't know if that is planned from the CSM side or not. But I want to point this out too.
So it's been suggested to me by a lot of people that they would like to see all new accounts get skilled up to 5 in all the Magic 14. Would you agree with that?
Theoretically, yes. But from my point of perspective, the Magic 14 with the 1 million skill points, you can reach this. But there's a problem if you're not Omega. That's the problem here, because you cannot fulfill the Magic 14 skills completely if you're not Omega.
Right.
If you are Alpha, you are lacking some skills there in the Magic 14 skill tree, and this should be, in my point of perspective, all injectable with this 1 million skill point you get from the French call where you can register on the website and get your 1 million skill point for free. I mean, if you don't want to waste your skill points in that, it's up to you. I mean, saying that the Magic 14 skills is obsolete is maybe something. This is a good question. I mean, theoretically, it could be obsolete, yeah, because you have other skills like advanced weapon upgrades or other skills, which is more important in the later game style. This is correct. But for me, to be honest, I don't see the point in maybe someone is saying, hey, I don't need a Magic 14 skill. I just want to go mining, and for this, I want to have this and this skills, and I invest into that skills. Then it should be possible. I mean, additional getting obsolete this Magic 14 skills is cool, but from my point of perspective, it takes away a little bit the point of the skilling into the game, because I mean, having skills is essential in the game, but yes, saying that you got this Magic 14 skills, having it at the beginning, I don't know. To be honest, I don't know if this is a good decision. From my perspective, I don't have any problems with that. But as I said, with that 1 million skill points in the beginning, I think you need only 700k for that, and then you have 300k left. And this is a good approach here. But yeah, I mean, I have no problem with that point of decision. But it's up to the players, at least, how they decide to invest their skill points here.
So then, what suggestions would you give to CCP to help new player retention?
The new player retention, you mean the new player experience?
Even if they decide to skip the tutorial and go into the game, what should they do to keep new players in the game?
Oh, yeah, I was running the NPE and I find it very interesting, especially the cinematics area here, giving a different approach of the game, and then you get a little bit disappointed after the NPE that the game does not look like as in the NPE. Maybe this could be a little bit more adjusted, like having some opportunities or the possibilities for the corporations. This is a very important thing. If you can make some, I know this sounds a little bit stupid, I know, but for example, we live in a Hentogaira in income system, and if I can put out some Eve project like mine this ice for me, I just not don't want to have mine this ice for me. I just want to have an explanation of what the people are doing into the game, like having a video camera movement to the ice bell, see some miners there, and then you can write some story, maybe with some voiceover or some AI voiceover, and saying, "Hey, for you, this is the ice field. This is something that have to be done in the corporation. You can do this so that the people get more the cinematic style. What it is achieved in the NPE, but not continued into the game." And for this reason, maybe this could be also very important that these tools will gather to the corporations, because the problem is to find the proper corporation in Eve. This is, I think, the most important thing. I don't say there should be a gap for some smaller corporation, because this is not fair, because sometimes people want to run their own corporation. That should be possible. But I think the thing here is that peoples, they want to have to be in a corporations. They have to get used into the corporation. They have to do a task there. They have to get involved into the corporations. And this was we currently have with SEAT or Alliance out systems or whatever. These tools are missing in Eve completely at the moment to get people more into the game, so we can help peoples with the skill plans, for example, because this is outside of the game. I mean, I have no problems with having them outside of the game, but you can achieve this in the game too, and maybe help these peoples getting better into the game. And yeah, with all that points figured out, as mentioned before, maybe we can make this a little bit more interesting for the peoples.
Actually, it's not a bad idea. I kind of like it. So you said that you recently just ran through the NPE. When is the last time that you did it? And for those who don't know, the NPE is New Player Experience. It's the tutorial.
The new players, to be honest, it should be, I think, 1 or 2 years ago, because I made some video recordings in there, because there was, I mean, the nice bowhead fleet with the nesters and something like that. I used this for a video comparison video I made as a lore video there. There's some on my YouTube channel you can watch, and you will see that as particular scenery with that fleet, because this makes more impression if you are starting as a part of a fleet. I mean, even if you're in an NPC corporation, I mean, this is something, maybe some adjustments here, like having, if you run some missions and you cannot run this, then maybe you should maybe ask for some help, like some NPC helper here or something like that, to help you getting through the missions, for example. I mean, it's not the best start point here. I mean, there's so many things you can adjust or improve. And from my point of perspective, the NPC overview is something that is a little bit death. It feels like death here, because uh, nothing happens to NPCs. If you are aggressing NPCs, yeah, you get some response fleet. Yeah, that's okay. But it doesn't cover what you achieved in Eve, or have some impact on what you're doing, or what's happening here in the future. I mean, the Eden Traglavian style is good, because there has some influence here, maybe not that big as it should be, but it has some impact here. And
Right.
also that should be having on the other NPCs, factions. Sorry, factions, the correct word. Here, having, like, saying, if you slaughtering Gorissas all the time, maybe Gorissas is getting upset and make some bounty on you, for example. Just as just some point of figuring out what could be happened. And I mean, I feel, or what I think is, it's not fully covered, that experience here. I mean, if you, for example, it's a bad game or a bad comparison, if I say so, but if you're running or playing X Beyond the Frontier, and you're killing all the time the same race, they're hunting you. But this is not happening in Eve, because NPC factions like pirates are not chasing you. I mean, only if you're in a faction war area,
Right.
then possible, yes. But I think this could be something, some point of interest here, where you can adjust a little bit to make the game feel a little bit more, uh, how to say this in English,
Alive.
alive,
Yeah.
alive, yeah, where you have to get more interactions with the NPCs here, and so.
Very cool. Okay, so a little bit earlier, you're talking about players needing to get into corporations. So I fully agree. Player engagement is huge. And it's proven that people who meet other players and meet community tend to stay in the game longer. So, what is your definition of community in Eve?
My definition of the community in Eve, okay, this is something, a community has to stick together normally. I know there's player that want to play their own game. That's okay for me. They can stay in the corp if they run their own shit, if that is possible. But a community is something that have to grow up together, stick together, work together, especially in the game, and share the same mindset, for example. We as Edencom, for example, sharing the mindset that Triglavians are bad and we have to protect New Eden and all this shit and something like that. And if that is something that keeps people up together, then it's good. I mean, if you're running a pirate corporation, for example, then you're bad, the bad guys, you have to be evil. And yeah, this sticks also peoples together. I mean, this is some kind of community and the community play style. And this is my point of community I want to see there. And at the moment, I don't see any negative point here, especially if it comes to that point, the people's or corporation represent some kind of aspects in Eve. But what I see is something that, I mean, I'm playing since 17 years, and connections is the most important value you have here, your reputation in Eve. I mean, this is something like that that should be honorable and should be respected or something like that. And for this reason, I have to say that this is my definition of community to be a part of Eve Online. And I mean, every single player has their own possibility to influence the game. I mean, not in game. I don't mean not in game. I mean, you can do in game stuff and get to bigger goals there, like being a thief or a spy or disbanding goons or whatever. For example, this is your point of highlight where this is a highlighted point you can have in Eve. But I mean, every player forges Eve Online. And if I write a letter in 2007, for example, I forged the future of Eve 2, and this is something that every player can achieve. But you have to be aware, you have to submit some commission agreement to CCP and sell your stuff there, but it's up to you. I didn't make it, I just gifted it to CCP and they just making the shit ton out of there. And for this reason, I would like to see that more people's having this in the future achieved too.
Very cool. Okay, so what is your stance on toxicity in the Eve community? Do you think it's an issue?
Yeah, depends on. I match this also in the Eve community. To be honest, there's some different gamer players I don't fully understand in Eve. To be honest, there, for example, what would I say? Depends on toxicity. Um, I mean, there's player they have their only point of view of living their own live in Eve. That's a good point here. They can do it everything. Yeah, I mean, that's a mindset thing. If some, for example, transgender guy is coming into the corporation and have some problems to get not achieved, sorry, get involved into the corporation's life because he is a little bit separated, then it's the mission of the CEO or to stick the people together because it's a game and people didn't realize that you need to be played together in this game. And I think toxicity in Eve is some kind of issue here, especially when it comes to this kind of questions and or people getting bored by new questions all the time and always forgot how they start as their own. For example, I don't like that if people judging people. So hey, why are you to be stupid to realize that you don't fly with multiple weapons groups together? It makes no sense. Just pick some. And this chat thing, I think it should be a little bit more monitored because um, this is a little bit sometimes running out of the steer. And I hope this was the right pronunciation. And something they have to be fixed, yeah. But it's not my point or part to do this all the time, all day long. But if I can prevent this, I will do this. This is my normal approach here.
Do you find any particular areas within the game where it's a particular problem?
Can you explain this a little bit further? I have the questions here.
As I
Oh,
said, some questions will be follow-up questions. What I mean is, for example, I have gotten screenshots from faction warfare chat and servers as well that are quite spicy. And I'm not talking about in-game conflict or farming a little bit of salt. I'm talking about all the things that aren't appropriate really to talk about in 2024. You know, your harassment, your racism, your homophobia, transphobia, all that stuff, where it kind of tends to run rampant, or how there are certain groups that will blow you up and then just keep pushing individuals until they explode. and say all the things that are against the toss.
Let me figure out some sign of thing. For example, I had some. Oh, this was in the beginning where I was invited by Code with some chatbots, and they really make me so aggressive in the chat that I really flipped out. That was a nice experience because I realized later that I was talking to bots, and I mean this is something that shouldn't have to be in the game because it's some point of science fiction game, sci-fi orientated, and I think okay, we live now in 2024, but sometimes I think we live in 1900 or something
Uh,
like that. It's
hold on,
referring to that.
hold on a second. You've become a robot.
Oh, just a second. Mm. Is it better now?
No, and you've totally frozen up on screen.
Mm.
Maybe try leaving the chat and coming back.
Okay, is it better now?
It seems to be better.
Okay, maybe,
Yep.
yeah. Sorry, just what pure Wi-Fi connection. We live in Germany. We don't live in the super,
Not a
super.
problem.
Okay.
Easy fixed.
Yeah, sorry. Where did we stop?
We were talking about toxicity. You had encountered some chatbots that.
Yeah. For example, this is something that shouldn't be in the game, something like that, because especially when they're, I don't know what Code is trying to achieve with that point of thing here, but if you're getting invited to some chat channels and you getting here some talking with some chatbots, for example, and they aggressing you in every point of view, and you're just talking to the chatbots and didn't realize that you're not talking to real humans. It takes a little bit long for me to get to that point, but yeah, something like that couldn't be in the game from my point of view, because this is something we play a sci-fi game, and this should be sci-fi orientated, especially when it comes to alien races or something like that. And
Right.
uh, sorry, there's no place for that in my point of view.
Yeah.
I mean, if the people's not talking to me personally and try to achieve something like that, then I have no problem with that. But if people are still here and playing the game, they can be
Yep.
everything. I mean, I have no problems. I mean, I even talk and play with Triglavian player as an Incom player. Yeah, I mean, I have also no problem with that. But yeah, I think toxicity, there's no place in Eve for that.
I agree. Thank you so much for sharing that. That's one of my missions, is kind of shining spotlight on some not nice areas of Eve, some that we need to clean up a little bit. So we're going to switch into another mindset about actual CSM. So as you know, I've been part of the CSM19 for, this past year, and have a little bit more insight. A lot I can't say about because of NDA. One of the frustrations of being CSM, I can tell you, if you get on, it's going to frustrate you as well. But let's pretend
Yeah,
that...
I can feel you here.
Yep. So let's pretend that you did make it onto CSM19. You get into your first meeting, and the plans for the next expansion are revealed to you. Not one thing that you campaigned for or have expertise in made it into the expansion. What do you think you're going to do?
Should I be honest? I mean,
Yeah.
I think I have a nice roadmap in my mind that would something is happening in Eve at the moment, but I'm not sure about that. I just pronouncing it that over years now what is could be happen and something like that. But I totally feel you that you're a little bit disappointed here if you cannot bring your stuff you campaigned for to it. I totally understand that here. And yeah, I also, as I said, wrote this letter, and I'm not happy with that, writing this letter. It's like Einstein writing the letter to America's president, and something like that is similar happening to me. I'm not happy with that. But yeah, it was happened in the past, and it will have impact in the future. And for this reason, I have to say, if there's other stuff coming up to the front of my point of view, I'm involved to that stuff. I have maybe also apologize for the past things I have done here. But yeah, sorry if I say so, but this is true. And for this reason, I would like to say, okay, how we can do it better, and what is the best point we get here together and focus on the stuff we were being CSM, and hope to get the stuff done. But yeah, what should I say? I mean, it's the point of vision of Eve that should be driven to the CSM people and not their own agenda. I think if you can forward the vision of Eve, and if you have a long time vision of Eve or a long time plan in Eve, you can achieve that goals. And if you're running for this, maybe people are voting you again and you get a second chance to achieve or that campaign you want to have to get achieved. And I hope really that this will happening soon for the one or the other re-elected CSM. I would like to see myself in the CSM, but to be honest, I think I have too much influence to that in the past, and maybe I just want to fix something I have mistaken there, and hope that I can achieve the goals together with you guys, because it was a sad dictatorship letter here. But yeah, I cannot say it in completely because otherwise I break the NDA too. And yeah, I hope you will understand this. This is something like background mechanics you can run in Eve, and this is all possible, but it will have some impact at the end, I hope, that people are realizing, oh my gosh, there's some player adjusting the CCP game development for over 20 years. And this is a complete different approach. But yeah, what should I say? I mean, I tried to do my best when I wrote this letter, but sometimes it was not the best option because it's not predictable. That's the most
Right.
important stuff. And it wasn't. It was a good idea in the beginning, but it was maybe not a good idea at the end. But yeah, this is Eve, and I hope. And as a player that I will be, I have to adjust. And I like that game too much that I don't want to adjust here and adapt or whatever. And yeah, this is the reason why I say if I don't get the stuff done by the stuff I want to have campaigned to, yeah, well, then that's it. But I hope to get the people's know me and get the people's into the stuff what there's going to have to be. And yeah, we will see how this
It's
evolves. But I cannot say something more here. But
s-
yeah, I'm open to every kind of uh, expansion that will come, because
well,
I mean I don't see it also.
I can tell from my own experience that this is exactly what can happen. Because obviously I don't live in Null. I am not gonna ever. Well, okay, I'm not ever gonna say never because I know where that gets me. But I'm not interested in going out and getting solved myself. So yeah, it's you do what you can. That's probably the best answer. So, if you play Eve long enough, your gameplay will be changed or even axed at some point, meaning that it'll be taken completely out of the game. What will you do as CSM if you find out that very important part of your community's gameplay is set to be drastically changed. But overall, it's better for the game. For example, I'm hearing a lot about this current batch of CSM wanting to remove drone assist from the game. And drone assist is pretty important to the incursion community, which I'm a big part of. So, what do I do? So, what would you do?
Yeah, okay. The drone is this thing here. I saw it in Pochven in pure excellence when I decloaked, and then they decloaked like one ship and then 20 vector navies, and I saw a lot of drones jumping on me and was not able to do anything here. But yeah, that's some kind of gameplay. I mean, if they remove the drone assist, then maybe should be improve or get the attack on myself thing stuff here also, because I want to run my own shield rep drones on my own.
But
Yeah, but I
what
don't know if this is something happening. But if that is happening, well, I
what
mean,
would
EVE is an evolving game.
what would happen if they decided to get rid of Pochven? That it was a bad idea, bad experience. Your whole community is surrounded around that. What would you do as, CSM, who obviously partakes in this gameplay?
Okay, from my point of perspective and some roleplay perspective, Income says that Pochven is just some bridgehead here. If they get rid out of that, that would be very disappointing for me. But this could be evolved in the future as some different content like here, like some unannounced open beta play style here. I don't know. Maybe something like that is happening.
Okay.
But to be honest, the story of Poffen is not written completely, and I hope that this will be something that will get more and more into action or grinding into gear, better say so, in the future. But I'm not sure if that is happening this or next year. But I hope so, because the players achieved so much in Pochven, and I like to see what's happening there. I like to see the NPC faction fighting each other, but I'm not fully evolved. But after seeing that eFrontier stuff here, what's ongoing here with the 4X game, I think that something different change is happening in the future too. But this is just some tinfoil hat here, and I hope that this is not gonna be happening. But I don't know.
Okay. And
I
for those of you out there listening and watching the video later, this is not a foreshadowing of what's actually going to happen in game. It was just an example because, you're very involved in the whole Edencom Pochven community. So, now, last question along this track is players sometimes expect the CSM members to fix or issues or demand changes from CCP. So they want us to go to CCP and demand and not stop yelling until it's fixed. Have you given any thought on how you're going to balance the limitations placed on you by being a CSM with making sure players get heard?
Well, to be honest, I know that the windmills at CCP works a little bit slow, but this is normally usual in some kind of software development here, because fast fixes is maybe not the good choice. It has to be tracked. It has to be covered by what could be happening and something like that. I know CSM should fix some issues, yes, but this is some long-term thing that you go through, and especially when it comes to the point that some roadmap is unfolding and you are just in the middle of the process, you get involved there and then see, okay, this is happening, and oh, this is the reason why. Then it's maybe not always possible to fix that thing instantly you want to get fixed. But if you have your vote here, and this is some democratic process, and you can get the other peoples from the CSM also involved, that you say, okay, this is not a good decision, then this should be also happening. And I hope I'm not involved to the CSM right now, but I hope that there should be some changes here regarding from CCP points of perspective if something is on the road which is not agreed by the CSM, that it should not be find their way into the game. But I hope this is happening. I'm not involved to that. I cannot say anything to that. This is the problem. And this is the reason why I also candidate for CSM to get some inside view here and hope to see what is the best approach here.
Okay, cool. So the last three questions are questions that actually came from a community. So they should be a little bit easier to answer. Or last two, I guess, since I put the one up there. Get rid of the duplicate. So, what is your stance on multi-boxing?
Oh, I think you missed the questions. I think you're asking the most pressing issue in EVE today. Or you just want to continue to the end? Okay, multi-boxing. I'm myself, a multi-boxer. I'm playing 7 accounts sometimes, not every time, but I play 7 tunes all the time. But it's a dual-bladed knife, you know. You can do a lot of multi-boxing here, like mining. This is very good for mining, but as I said, it's a dual-bladed knife because if you ganking, for example, then multi-boxing is a little bit too overpowered. I mean, this we could fix if, for example, a single player has more possibilities as a multi-boxer. For example, just some explanation here. If you're, I mean, mining is a good approach here to explain what I want to try to achieve. If you as a single miner mining a roid, then you should have a mini game with some circle like Oil Imperium in the past. If somebody knows and drills for oil, they have to put the circle in the middle of some circles to get the max profit out there. And if you're doing that as a single miner, you should get maybe 1.5 more out of it as a multi-boxer. Because a regular multi-boxer, for example, cannot do this task on every 7 accounts at the same time. But he has the improvement that he has 7 accounts. So, or for example, multiple accounts. So this helps the smaller player or the single player to get more out of the stuff, and something like this adjustment should also help. But this is just some approach here to get the people's saying that you have some benefits if you play solo. I mean, not everybody's Han Solo, but yeah, you have some benefits here if you play solo. You also not can run multi-boxing in PvP. You can have a scout there, yes. You can have a Sino there, yes. But you cannot PvP with 7 accounts. This is not possible. So this is the problem. If you say that ganking is PvP, then this is not true. This is just ganking. And there is multi-boxing maybe a little bit overpowered. But as I said, I don't see any bad points at multiplayer boxing because this is all being Omega and they pay for the game. And if I pay my 7 accounts with real life cash, which I do, then it's good. But maybe we can fix this by saying you can only multi-box if you pay with real life money and not paying by in-game money or in-game plex. Maybe this could be some address too here, but I'm not sure about that.
So,
This has to be.
have you ran Homefront operations at all?
I try Homefront operation as multi-boxer, and this was a good approach here because sometimes it was not able to doing multi-boxing that sites. I was not able to. Also, it depends on which sites you're running, but most of these Homefront sites I was not able to multi-box. I multi-box Triglavian sites with 7 tunes or Flashpoint sites with 7 tunes. This is possible. But with the ECM and all this stuff, you cannot tap through so much fast if you got unlocked and have to relock, and then you get to overview here. You don't have that much screens for that. This is a good approach to get rid of the multi-boxing feature here. What most people say this is happening, but I probably mostly don't have the problem with multi-boxing, to be honest.
Okay, fair enough. So now, what do you think is the most pressing issue in Eve?
Okay, the most pressing issues in Eve, I made some notes here on the left screen, so I took a little bit on the left side, is the pressing issues between the poor and the rich. Because the rich can dictate what's happening in the game. I mean, I have one German community streamer. This is a war important to the game. I mean, if he can field 300 reds just panning out or something like that, then this is something that is more important for alliances or nullsec blocks. And I say that there should be some redistribution of the money. I don't say just get rid out of GDA 4-4. I don't say that. But I just say that you just redistribute the income or give the peoples the possibilities to get more income, especially the poor ones, because they are lacking on skills, they're lacking on ships, they're lacking on experience. I mean, if you have 10,000 trillions, or for example, let's say 1 trillion ISK on your wallet, you don't care. It doesn't matter if you lose anything or whatever. But if you are pure and you're struggling to make any profit, then this is a really issue here. And there should be more possibilities to get. I mean, I like Eve to be hard in like to achieve goals, but I don't like it to have this gap between.
Right.
I also support the sandbox gamers here, because the sandbox gamer, they try to play this game without any fees. I don't like that personally, because I want to support that game. But if they want to try it, then it should be possible. And if they're able to make enough money to play the game for free, I mean, it's all good for the players. I mean, more players in the game, which means more opportunities, more
Right.
possibilities to get stuff done or not. But I don't say it's the scissor between poor and rich. I don't know if that is the correct English pronunciation for that, but I hope it's the gap. Sorry, the gap between poor and rich. This should be a little bit adjusted a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Let me see. Yeah, what other candidates would you like to see elected?
Yeah. Yes.
For that reason, I have one favorite CSM candidate. It's Dutch Gunner,
Okay.
because I run with him very in the past, talking with him, making some videos with him. This is some cooperation here, and I want to see him also in the CSM, because he do the Pochven lore and Pochven investigations. He was bombing the Dreadnought facilities and make some role play here. I think we need more of this, instead of having nullsec block alliances crashing into each other after some adjustment by the kings of the alliances. Yeah, just saying, oh, well, let's do some war in the winter. Yeah, why not? Yeah, to get these people get involved. This is something I don't like, to be honest.
Okay. Very cool. Does anybody in my Twitch chat have any questions, or anyone that's listening? I think I have one more person that's in our Discord channel.
Yep, I do have a follow-up question on what you mentioned about how that the most pressing issue is that difference between those that have the money and those that don't, right?
Yeah,
So
go ahead.
I guess what manner would you want to redistribute that wealth in such a way that it actually empowers those that don't have, as opposed to giving another tool to those that do have money?
Just a second. Okay. The thing, for example, what I find good was the thing with the Triglavian invasion. For example, having the possibilities to get your standings there and benefit from the NPC faction fighting each other. In Porphin, you can make really good, easy money. If you have buff dual standing here, you can just loot them here, and if you're a good player, then you can make a lot of ISK there. And you don't have to be on the high SP role here. This is something that should be interesting, you know. And if you're going, for example, the thing that you cannot get ISK from bounty, for example, you just have to loot and sell them afterwards, and having some bottleneck here that is also interesting. I don't say this is completely finished here, but something like that, and so that also newer players can get rich by maybe salvaging some wrecks or something like that, which with some high value there. But yeah, I hope this answers this question at the moment.
So more money making opportunities at lower SP levels is what you're saying.
Yes, but also not, you know, okay, maybe I should adjust something like that. I have some plan. I have to make some Photoshop video editings for that in the next days for my planned CSM interview on Saturday and Sunday, because I thinking, for example, there's so many possibilities in E, for example. What I miss, for example, is when you're docking at station at a player station, you can see your own ships and you only your own ships. You cannot see other ships from other players, which could be interesting if you do some investigation on other players' routes. For example, oh, he's docking here again with his hauler. What he's doing here, he's undocking in his hauler. Okay, so maybe some adjustment like this is just some visioning here. Like, okay, this docking thing here, and people's getting stuff into their freighter. Okay, this could be interesting because he's unloading at the moment or he's loading at the moment, and you follow these peoples and give intel to other people who's interested in that. That could be some impact here. I also thinking on my point of view that I made in CSM15 in one of my video that things are standing around is something like that. Ships, I don't like having 2,000 Titans in one small Keepstar. I don't like that. To be honest, it should be docked outside, not aggressible, but it should be docked outside. And also some lines of capitals and stuff like we have in Faction War, for example, this stuff where the ships you are outside in these boxes and something like that for the player stations also. And if you do that, what is the goal behind it? The goal behind it is that this is a reason you have to investigate other systems. If you're investigating so and see, okay, there's 70 dreadnoughts docked outside, what they're doing here. And then you're realizing that you're important to the game, and this is also something that could have some impact into the game. Because if you're docking 2,000 Titans in, for example, in one station, and you see only 2,000 on the count of the Keepstar, you don't know what's inside. But something should be rewarded or something like that. And this is a totally different approach from that what we have here at the moment, because this is not happening in the game. I hope I explained it enough to get you the point of view I want you to have, but this is something I would like to address. I know I don't, Zero Blocks don't like that, maybe this decision, but it could be interesting decision because you cannot move that much big fleets without getting recognized. And having that information that people are sitting there with like 500 Titans at the station, docked outside of the station, not aggressible, then you know, okay, there's something action here that gives other entities the possibility to react on that. And at the moment, yeah, there should be also possible that you can dock your ships inside. If it's a small Fortisar or a small Astrahos, you can dock several kind of ships there. But this is also just some visioning of Eve. I don't say this is complete. This has to be discussed with the peoples and say what the people thinking about it, because this is some different kind of game style you can make. If you are sitting on the station, see, okay, they are here, all with the whole capital fleet, and you see that because you're docked at the station, then you can sell this information. And this information could be crucial, especially in low sec, for example, if you stay at the station and see, oh my God, there's 40 dreadnoughts here. Yeah, because you see them. You don't. I mean, if you only see your own ship, this is useless. But if you see the other ships, this could be some kind of investigator role or something like that, helpful for other entities. And this could be paid also. And I think that could be paid really good if you deliver the right information to the right persons.
So it being as like an in-game feature as opposed to what it currently would be, which is like it basically spying on people, getting into their corporations, so that you see those pings and see the pings being put out. Everyone log in dreads now, and we're moving them to the XY system. You know.
Yeah, this is the spying thing here. The spying thing is, but what I'm saying is, if you don't need to be in that kind specific spying cooperation or role by just docking at their station, I mean, okay, if you have access to that, but if you see it from outside,
This is
this could be crucial.
This is
the
an alternative. Yeah.
Yeah, this is the alternative. If you see it outside, okay, the people are prepping here for something because they're bringing the toys from blah 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 to blah blah blah, and they're just talking outside. Something is happening here. Okay, who could be the aggressor? Okay, then you have to write some letters and do stuff here. But if it's just some spying, then you know, okay, this boy is bringing then 20 dreadnoughts. You have to get involved to that, and this just keeps it out because it could be some neutral entities. All the scouts moving around in the system, yeah, maybe like some new players, yeah. For example, getting down, scanning down the pipe, and then they're seeing, oh my gosh, what's going here? I have on T-scan 20 docked Titans or something like that. This could be very interesting, but this is not figured out completely. This is just some idea I have at the moment, yeah. I mean, if realizing if you're moving stuff to a station and moving back via jump clone, the ship remains in the system, you know, or there should be remain on the system. And then you have 0 peoples in a local, and you're thinking there's nothing happening inside. But if you encounter that there's 200 Titans and 300 Dreadnoughts waiting at the station for deployment, then you know that there's something happening. And then you got your neutral scout there, and they're saying, oh my gosh, what's happening here? Is there some info tool, some channel I can sell this information?
Okay.
This could be helpful. Okay, I'm finished.
No, I was going to say, time is up. I want to thank you so much. Do you have anything else you would like to say in closing?
Yeah, there are 50 players in the CSM. Vote now.